And we're recording. Okay, I was incensed about something earlier before you guys got here, but
That's the way to start it off.
I know. I was just like, I happened to check some emails and I was like, oh, something we'll all talk about later. But anywho, nothing important. Um, nothing important, nothing like the world crashing or anything.
Yeah, I
So
guess that isn't what's incensing you. It's something
no,
else.
it was believe it or not, it was like some that shows you where my brain's at. It's like, oh, my 401k, what is that? I don't know that that exists anymore. And I always loved, I mean, okay, no, we're not supposed to get political, but um I loved 4 years ago, whoever it was, when everybody's like, when the 2020 elections were happening, how's your 401k? I want to look at all of those MFers right now and go, how's your 401k?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Anywho, I digress. I'm
I
on
don't know how
fire
to
today.
respond to that, Julie. It's
I know.
yeah, not
Not
good.
good. The
Not
answer
good.
is not
That's
good.
that's the way. Are you seeing though some of the okay, that maybe I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist here, but
I love when you start off
Please,
that way.
please theorize wildly.
I'm gonna be a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. Um, so how Peter Navarro, just all I'm gonna say is look up how Peter Navarro became, how Jared Kushner found Peter Navarro. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Okay. It's like, y'all have your little homework to do. Okay, yes. Beth, this is Brittany Greenway. Brittany is coming to us from, we were so excited because she is with Macmillan, and Macmillan has so many wonderful imprints. And so we're super excited that Brittany is joining us. So welcome, Brittany, to Tea Time for the first time.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's my first time. Mondays are just historically very hard for me, so I worked really hard to try and clear my schedule so I could be here.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fun because I have a lot of connections with some of the editors at, especially like Flatiron and St. Martin's and some of those, and so it's going to be fun to get some of those books talked about too. So, in fact, I just read one, Brittany, that I don't even think is coming out until February. Um,
Wow.
yeah, no,
That's
Sarah
way
Canton
out.
just sent me something, so
February.
can't wait. Yeah, February, I think.
Who knows?
Yeah,
I feel
it's
very behind.
Me too.
I'm feeling like, well, I told you guys last week what happened. I read one so early that I forgot to even nominate it, which was not good. So that's the fallacy of doing it super early. I got my little name in the galley though. That was super cool.
Oh yeah, that is the upside to reading
So
so
the
early.
upside was, yeah, my name's right there, but it's like, okay. Anyways, giving everybody enough time to pop in. So the order is going to go Julia, Andrea, Tom, and Brittany. I think we have screen share on for everybody. So take it away, Julia.
Alrighty. Well, my first one goes right along with Brittany's cat. And this is just a super fun book from Running Press, which does these sort of great, they've got information and they're also sort of beautiful, not like big coffee table books, but like a nice like manageable size coffee table book. This is Cats, Gods, Goddesses, Deities, and Demons, a guide to feline folklore and mythology. And this is, you can see, I'll show you some of the interior because they're so beautifully designed, these books. And so these go through like different cultures, different eras, and talk about sort of these cat gods and goddesses and deities that have been worshipped. I mean, we always think of, I think, Egypt as the big cat worshiping sort of, excuse me, culture. But there's so much more. So this is a really fun one. I think a really fun. Look at this man's whiskers. Just absolutely perfect. And I just think a really fun book for any cat lover who, or anyone who needs to get a gift for the cat lover in their life. So, uh, yeah, excuse me. I'm choking now. Yeah, that's my first one. I think it's really fun. And a nice little gifty title for whoever you know that needs it.
Great gifty book. I'm thinking Brittany needs it.
Yeah.
I know what I'm thinking here. So I think that was first off. But oh my God, those illustrations are incredible. And the cover is great cover.
I know, right? It's really a running press. That's like their bread and butter. That's what
Yeah.
they do so, so well. Absolutely.
Okay, so this goes to both Julia and Tom in the chat. First of all, Brittany, you're getting lots of love and welcome. I don't know if you're following the chat, but you're getting lots of love and welcome in the chat, so it's always fun to have that too. But Tom, so Lori did some research for us on Lisa. It rhymes with, I love it. She says it rhymes with weenie. So Lisa Scottolini.
Okay, and so it is. Okay.
I should have known that Tom knows all.
I
Yeah,
did not. I wasn't sure if I knew. I could. I could. Like one of those names I probably went back and forth on over many years.
Me
Selling.
too. I've always I usually like within the same conversation, we'll say it a different way.
Yes,
So-
right. So, but now we know. Now it is.
Yeah.
Now we like weenie.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
never
will
forget that.
always be in my head now. I just like I might not be able to like get over that. So anywho, that's pretty fun. So lots of good suggestions going on in the chat too for some good books that everybody's talking about. So good stuff going on there. Okay, Andrea, what do you got for us?
Well, hi everyone. I've missed you. I know that you probably don't remember who I am. It's been a while.
We're glad to have you back.
Yeah. I want to talk about a book that hit the New York Times bestseller list right at publication, Elie Mystral's Bad Law, 10 Popular Laws That Are Ruining America. He is back. Elie is back in a big and bad way with this book. This hails from the New Press, which is a nonprofit, a small nonprofit in beautiful offices in Wall Street. And they are in enemy territory, folks, because these folks are like publishing, like, squarely from the left. So it's pretty great to like go into this, like, this gorgeous, like, historical office building and ride up to one of the upper floors and walk into, like, a bastion of like leftist, like, politics.
That is so funny. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, they published a book a few years ago called Social Security Works, which, yay. Anyway, so they're doing Elie Mystral's second book. They did the first one as well. And in this one, he brings up he brings his traditional legal acumen and passionate snark to the subject at hand, which is covering 10 laws that he feels are like bringing misery and just unfairness to American citizens. From the intro, he says, if it were up to me, I'd treat every law passed before the Voting Rights Act of 1965 as presumptively unconstitutional. The government of this country was illegitimate when it ruled over people who had no ability to choose the rules. Well, that is kind of that's a good point, isn't it? So yeah, and so he's making the rounds as usual. He'll be this is going to be reviewed, of course, on the book page, but also off the book page. So you're going to see a lot of reviews about this, and you'll see his unmistakable mug on television as well. So that's Bad Law, 10 Popular Laws That Are Ruining America. And the great thing about Elie is that he doesn't just have a point of view, he can actually write too. So, he's not just a talking head. He can
love it.
And
He backs up what he's talking about.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I love it.
But I've heard him on podcasts talking about this book, and he is a compelling talking head.
Yeah. I mean, he's very articulate, I mean, he knows his subject inside and out. And he delivers with flair, that's for sure.
Well, I'm just going to go back to the thing that I told y'all to research earlier, about who the person uses as their, who he uses as his expert. Research who he uses as his expert.
I think I saw that this morning. Yes, I know of what you speak. That is insane.
Insane, right? Insane. It's like that's what I say. It's like I'm believing it, but maybe it's not true. I don't know. Okay, Kim's on here. Kim, I know you're reading My Boyfriend, by the way. Colin McKenna.
Trying to remember which boyfriend.
Which
Oh
one?
yeah.
Which one? I know I have many. I have many
I
boyfriends.
know you have like a little black, events book.
I do. I
And
do. I have my
so
little.
I just want to know what number he is for sure.
Oh,
I'm trying to
Colin might
remember.
be up there at the top, man. I mean, he can't really do much wrong as far as his writing goes. So I'm just saying. So yes, I loved Twist. I love everything the man writes. So there you go.
Yeah, and he's a nice guy. So
Yeah.
there you go.
There you go. All right, Tom. Won't take any more of your time.
Okay. So my next
Polyauthorist.
I know that's a new one. Coined here.
All
Many
right.
versions, polyauthorist, polyauthorist.
Yeah, there's all
Um,
kinds of versions of it. All right, sorry, Tom. What do you got for
okay.
us?
What was I doing? So this is hard. It's hard for me. It's going to be really hard for me to present this book. It is one of my favorite books of the year, for sure this season, but it's really hard to talk about. And it's not going to be for everybody, guaranteed. This is not for everyone. So with that caveat, and I'll try to do it justice. It's fantastic. Katie Kitamura's Audition. So this is the third book we've published. Not her third book, her fifth book, but her third book that Riverhead has published. And I don't know if they're a loose. I've seen in reviews people refer them to them as maybe like related as a trilogy, but only not that they're related in character or setting or any of that. Just in sort of the kind of book they are, the kind of narrator it is. It's a first person narrator. So this book begins, and I would describe this as a psychological thriller. But not everyone will describe it that way. Some people will be like, well, I'll tell you. So it opens with a very famous and like in her prime, she's an actress on the stage and in film, but she's doing a play, and she's meeting a young man, much younger man, at a restaurant in New York City. And so we don't know much about either of them. They're mismatched. She's not sure why she's going there, but she's meeting him. They've met before. We, as the reader, are not sure, but we know there is definitely tension in her as to what's going on. And then, they sit down to have lunch, and we know that she's kept this meeting a secret from her husband, even though she's not sure why she's done that. And then so they're starting to talk, and then into the restaurant, her husband walks in, like unexpectedly, not supposed to be in that neighborhood. All of a sudden, he walks through the door, and she sees him, and she's like, "Oh, okay, I didn't tell him what's going on." And then he walks in, maybe sees her, maybe doesn't, and then leaves. So there's so much psychological tension going on in the first chapter, and you don't even know what the heck is going on. You're not oriented at all. So the book is about the relationships between maybe it's essentially about this marriage, but this young man plays a major role. I can't tell you more than that because the book also, so it's taught, and her writing is just so pristine, beautiful, every word, every line. But midway through, there is a switch. So you're reading the novel. Suddenly, she unmoors you from what you've read before, though you know it must be related, right? Because you're reading a novel. So it's fantastic, but you have to want to be challenged. You have to want to be excited by, literature. I mean, it's not, like I said, not for everyone. Her last two books were New York Times 10 Best of the Year, so I expect this will get major, major reviews. I describe this also as a book it's a two-sitting read because you're going to
small,
want
right? Yeah.
It's really small, but you're going to close the last page. You're going to be like, I'm reading this again because I need to understand it more. And even though, I think you also have to be comfortable not understanding everything. Like she's not one of those writers that is tying anything together exactly. So if you like Lauren Groff, if you like Hernan Diaz, if you like writers like this, and we have quotes from both of those writers, not coincidentally. Katie Kitamura, this is Lauren Groff. Katie Kitamura is one of our most brilliant writers, saying far more in her silences, blank spaces, and disruptions than most novelists can say in 100,000 words. Audition is eerie, a book so cold it feels hot. I love that. It hooked into my mind like a burr. So that's Lauren Groff on Audition. So I think everybody should read this, though just be prepared. Half of you say are not gonna like it.
But
Audition.
I love that though a little bit because it's like sometimes, and this goes back to like one of my book club picks, and I can't remember the title that we talked about. Sometimes a book that challenges you like that you don't like can make for the best conversations.
Yes, that's right.
Because
Yeah,
it's like when everybody loves a book, it's sort of like, oh yeah, I love that, I love
right.
that, and it's just like, ah. But sometimes a book like this is like you can dig in and really go for it.
And that's what happened with the sales reps because we all had our individual reactions to it, and we had like an impromptu book club where we're all giving our reactions. And you can because it's about it's in many ways it's about the roles we all play in our lives as son, as wife, as husband, as mother. We're playing roles all the time, and so that wraps up into the stage aspect here. It's so good and so rich, and yeah,
I love it. All
it's
right.
fantastic.
Remind me her other two books. Audition, what was the other two?
Intimacies and
That's
a
right. That's right.
separation. Intimacies was the last one, and a
Yep.
separation was the one before that.
Okay. All right. All right. Thanks, Tom. Okay, Brittany, what do you have for us?
Okay, so I have a book that actually came out last year. I wanted to highlight some of our backlist that are going to be out in paperback soon. So my
Excellent.
first book is The Spell Shop from Sarah Beth Durst. This was on our tour list last July. It comes out in paperback on May 27th. Um, there's also another book that's kind of in this series. What I like about this series is you don't have to read book one to read book two. They're just loosely interconnected, but that's called The Enchanted Greenhouse, and that's also on Tor's summer list. Um, but I love this series because it's kind of a cozy fantasy mixed with a little bit of romance. It reads a little bit like a Hallmark movie with mythical creatures, or I personally like to think of it as Shrek for adults.
I love that.
So for all of the kids who loved kind of the enchanting, slightly bonkers comedy of fairy tales like Shrek, they're maybe a little bit more off the beaten path than your kind of Disney fairy tale. I do feel like this might be for them.
And it's called Spell Shop, is
The
the name
Spell
of that
Shop.
one?
Yep.
Okay, and then the one in the summer, is that a new one to it?
Yeah, it's a sequel, but like I said, they're more loosely interconnected. It's not necessarily a direct sequel, so you don't have to have read The Spell Shop to enjoy The Enchanted Greenhouse. It's just there are some characters from book one that are going to kind of wander into book two.
Okay, I like that
Yeah.
because I don't have a brain that can keep track of everything that when it's another book that's coming. It's like
Yeah.
if there's a character, it's like, okay, I'm okay with that. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, perfect.
it's the kind of fantasy that it has world building, but it doesn't have complex world building. So I do think it's also a very good fantasy for people who maybe don't want something that's Brandon Sanderson
Right.
level, house upon house of
Right.
person knowing
Where are we at? To your point, Tom, where are we grounded? Where are we?
Yeah, there are no maps. There are
Okay,
no
there's
maps
no
in this
maps.
book,
I love it.
so you don't
Well,
have
I
to.
mean, for me, a good every once in a while, I love a fantasy just to like, zap me out of whatever I'm in. So that's good. All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right, Julia, what's next for you?
Okay. My next one is another kind of gifty title, but I think a big one. And that is part of our All the Songs series, Fleetwood Mac, All the Songs. So this is Black Dog and Leventhal, which is part of Artisan Publishing, does these All the Songs books for major music figures. So there's a David Bowie one and a Bob Dylan one and all sorts. There's a spoiler, but there's a Taylor Swift one coming. And so, but this I feel like is kind of the one you need, all the
Yep.
songs, right? This is the story behind every single song that Fleetwood Mac has ever done. And listen, I mean, rumors alone could fuel an entire, I don't know, an entire television show possibly.
Oh my God. And I think there were songs that didn't make it on the album.
Yeah, famously, there was one that famously didn't, and then Stevie Nicks sang it into Lindsey Buckingham's soul nearly 30 years later. But or 20 years later. But this is just an absolute wonderful. It's a thick coffee is this is a coffee table book. It's a nice thick book that goes behind the scenes. It talks about all of the different members of Fleetwood Mac, sort of all the different times they have broken up and made up and everything in between. Look at that photo of Stevie. You know, this is it tells you all about those rumors songs where, you know, I mean, famously, oh, that's the performance where she is that the performance? No, maybe not.
No, I don't see him there yet.
I don't think so. But anyway, you know, it tells you all about, you know, Christine McVie writing You Make Love and Fun and telling John McVie as they're like sort of breaking up that it's about their dog, even though it's about the man she was cheating on him with. And you know, the Silver Springs, of course, which is famously left off of Rumors. And then in the 90s, when they get back together, Stevie Nicks banishes Lindsey Buckingham to hell with that song.
Oh.
A thing that I Google and watch on YouTube at least once a month. I'm
like, I'm not once a month. I'm about once every 6 months. I will.
Yeah. I watch it anytime it comes across my screen.
I mean, it's no wonder that he like had he developed heart issues.
Yeah, well,
I think she is a witch, isn't she? I don't know.
Yeah, but it's just it's a wonderful book that delves deep into every single song that Fleetwood Mac ever did. The big ones obviously, but also these like little gems of songs that I think sometimes I who was raised with Fleetwood Mac all the time in my house, you know, forget sometimes that Fleetwood Mac sing some of these like wonderful songs and what they're about and sort of how they came to be as well. So it talks about the forming of the band too, because Buckingham and Nicks were one group and then you know they formed.
Yeah,
because Joe Walsh I think was originally in the very original
yeah,
you're right,
way back.
Blues band. They were a blues band.
They were a blues band. Yeah. Sentimental Lady, one of my favorites. That's an old one.
Yeah,
that shows you how old I am. The Grays are getting covered tomorrow.
It's all in there.
Wait, it wasn't Joe. That wasn't Joe Walsh.
It wasn't Joe Walsh.
Sentimental Lady. That was.
It wasn't Joe Walsh. It was somebody like it was.
Yeah, it was similar name. Sorry,
it was similar name though, but it was not Joe Walsh. You're right.
This is not good tea time, but it just hit me. It wasn't Joe Walsh.
It wasn't.
It rhymes with weenie.
On that note, Andrea, you get to go next. I'm going to Google while we're doing that.
Okay. Yes, The Colony. This is what we like to call in the industry a sleeper on the list. This has basically caught indie booksellers by storm with the great sales. People are hand selling this like crazy. Warwick's is you know, they're on that path as well. So
we're no slouch, in other words.
That's right. You guys are like, you know, like riding the zeitgeist wave for sure with this one. And this is from Europa edition. So as many of you know that are watching this, they do books in translation. And so this was a trade paper original, you know, because this author, she didn't have any track over here, so they didn't want to, you know, come out in hardcover with it. And so it's really easy to pick up at $19. And this is just it was a massive bestseller in Sweden, and I think that it's going to like sell like hotcakes here for a long time as well. It's a darkly funny, elegantly written story about group dynamics and our need for belonging. Basically, a young professional goes on vacation to get out of the rat race of the city and comes across a group of young people of like minds who are just really trying to just, you know, question like, what is this? Why are we in the rat race? What are we doing? Do we need to do this? Should we drop out? And then as things progress and the dynamics shift, between these people um comes to find, I mean, it's like they're all sort of like naively like individualistic when they get there and feel like they march to the beat of a different drummer, but then suddenly the group dynamics change darkly, and it's almost like they're in a cult. It's like the group dynamic shift to like cult-like behavior. And so it's really interesting to watch this all, or to read, and observe what's going on between all of the members of the colony. Yes, love this. Let me see. Is there any other, there's quotes from, um, people like Svenska Dagbladet, but
That's your average just
yeah,
household name there.
translated from the Swedish, so it's okay. I'm not going to read that, but anywho, this one it's really fun. Like I said, it's like great social commentary, and the character development as all the characters come together and start changing because of the group dynamic it's fascinating. And it's got a dark humor to it too, which I know a lot of people on this call will appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Well, and the thing with him too is that, or with this book, or Europa, is I don't think you can go wrong with a Europa title.
No, I mean, the
You
editorial
know?
quality is so great. I mean, what they're acquiring, they believe in it. It's like,
Yeah.
so, and they have to be careful. They don't have a lot of money.
Right.
And they're bringing books to the market that a lot of these people can't afford to come over here and tour, right? So,
Right.
so this is all really like about the quality of the writing and hand selling from the indie booksellers,
Right.
which the
Sounds
indies
like
do well.
before. Okay. Thanks, Andrea. And it was Bob Welsh.
Bob
I knew
Wells.
it
It
was.
was on the tip of my tongue,
I know.
but
I knew it when I was saying Joe Walsh. I knew that wasn't right. I was like, I know it wasn't Joe Walsh, but it was
you're
Bob
right.
Welsh.
The names are so they're almost the same,
Yeah,
but
it's like same, right?
yeah.
Two completely different people, but just saying.
Right. But both,
Um,
but Joe Walsh was probably at the same stage that Bob Welch was with Fleetwood Mac. He was with the Eagles.
Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, anywho, there we go. All right, Tom, rescue me.
Um, my next book is Happy Land. So this is out in hardcover tomorrow by Dolan Perkins Valdez, whose first novel we did 2, 3 years ago was called Take My Hand, which was a real indie hit, especially in indie bookstores. That was and this is just like that one. This is historical fiction that resonates today with themes that we're all thinking about right now. So the new book is about a young woman in the South who's called she's estranged because her mother is estranged from her mother. The main character has really not seen her grandmother for a long time, but her grandmother reaches out to her, and so she goes to North Carolina, the hills of Western North Carolina, and what she discovers is that something that no one in the family has passed down, that her great 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 grandmother was a queen. And by that I mean this was it, there was she was the queen of of the kingdom of the Happy Land. And that was a real uh community in the late started at like 1872 or around that time. It was a self-sustaining community of formerly enslaved men and women who were ruled by a king and a queen in the mountains, sort of, off on their own, of the Carolinas. It's a real thing. So I love historical novels that bring to life something that I have never heard. I don't know anything about, so I'm learning with every page, but also, that has meaning for today, because the book is a lot about, how land has been taken, I mean, given and taken, and so it's about the land and owning the land and then not owning the land. So it has resonance today in so many different ways. She's a really good writer, and it's a great second book. So that's Happy Land by Dolan Perkins Valdez.
Awesome. Great cover too.
Yeah, really. The first book, Take My Hand, also had a gorgeous cover.
Yeah,
This,
I think I remember that. Yeah. And Dee's on here. She said, Take My Hand was awesome.
yeah, it really was. So I think you'll definitely enjoy Happy Land.
Love it. All right. Yeah, that's so interesting. It's like, how is that not like just public, just like
I know,
in our,
I know. It
yeah,
should. I mean, it's such a fascinating idea. I mean,
I know.
how did it disappear from our collective memory? Oh,
Right.
wait, I think I
Oh,
know.
wait. I think there's something in the air that I know. All right. All right, Brittany, what do you got for us?
Okay, I'm going to share my screen for this one. So this is A Crane Among Wolves from June Her. It was out on our spring list last year. It is a YA title from Squarefish. It comes out in paperback on May 13th. But what I love about this book is that it reads in a way that if you were to give it to a historical fiction reader, I don't think that they would automatically know that it's YA. Because the characters are so mature, it's so well paced. All of her books are slightly they have a slight mystery plot in addition to the kind of historical fiction element, and all of her characters are driven by this thing that they have to do. And so in this book, the main character, her sister has been kidnapped by a tyrannical king, and she has been forced to become one of his concubines, and he is historically known as the most tyrannical king in Korean history, and he kidnapped thousands of women. And the plot is around one of the princes who is related to the king, who kind of hatches a coup. And so it's part political thriller, part journey of this girl trying to figure out how to save her sister. There's also a murder mystery all wrapped up, and everything interconnects. And it's just so expertly written. And I've loved every single one of June Her's books. I think that she is one of the best YA authors working on our lists today. She just has these really real, fully fleshed out characters that are absolutely compelling. So,
Great cover, by the way.
yeah,
That, I mean,
right?
oh my God, the crane, it's like you don't see it at first, and then it's like, oh, there it is. And it's just like, no, that is a really, and there's one in the back. It's really good. So what is it? You said it was Korean
Yes,
or Korean?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Chosun Dynasty Korea.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. No, that sounds like it would be an amazing book.
It's really great. I mean, and the thing is, with so much historical fiction, many of the characters tend to be in their late teens, early 20s anyways. And I feel like an adult audience doesn't normally think about that because people had to mature so much faster back then because people didn't live as long. And so I really challenge someone who wouldn't normally think to pick up a YA book to read this because it doesn't feel like it's written just
Right.
for teenagers.
Right. No, I like that because you're right. It's like, a lot of the courts were young people. We're just living longer now.
Exactly.
Back in those days, we were not. So, yeah, great one. Love it.
Thank you.
All right. So Kim's asking, Andrea, I'm going to mispronounce this person's name. Chris Alfutt, Offutt. Is that you? Yeah. She's working her way through the Mick Harden series. I love it. Thanks. Thanks, Kim. Okay. I guess we're in lightning round now.
All right.
Go, Julia.
Okay. Mine is, I don't know if I have the right window. Sorry. I was looking up Chris Offutt. I can't remember if I already brought this. This did come out last month. But it finally just showed up at my house. This is Yasu. It's the simple seasonal Mediterranean cooking of Greece. And I have been having, you guys, the best time cooking from this cookbook. This is Greek cooking, and I will just admit freely that I'm Italian, so Mediterranean cooking does come pretty easily to me. But I was going through this when it showed up and just realized, like, okay, I have every ingredient at my house. It's so like, if you're a person who, sort of cooks regularly, most of it's going to be ingredients that you have in the house. You might need to pick up like one or two things, but most of it's going to be what you have in the house. It's simple cooking. It's so delicious. It's so like it's heavy on vegetables. I made this like beet and yogurt salad that was like to die for the other day. And
Yeah.
I have right now sitting in my fridge, I have a block of feta that I'm gonna wrap in phyllo for later. Um, this is just it's so much fun. It's like I said, it's not a hard cookbook, but just a really flavorful, a lovely cookbook, a cookbook full of things that you probably have in your house anyway. um and I just can't say enough good things about it. It is absolutely stunning. It's called Yasu, the simple seasonal Mediterranean cooking of Greece. And because I've been going to a lot of farmers markets lately, and because like that's the seasonal cookbook. You can just like sort of figure out which season you're in and get, what you need, and it's simple. It's so good.
Yeah,
Um,
that Greek salad looked really good. I could taste that olive oil. It just looked really good.
my mom has been trying to make moussaka, she said, since the 1970s and been failing miserably. And so we there's a good moussaka recipe. I'll report back. She's coming in May and we're going to try to cook it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. No, that one looks really good. And Brittany, back to yours. Dee had a comment about her book club is multi-ages. Oops, it just went away. Somebody commented. That's what I love about this. So her book club is multi-ages, and she's been adding YA, and it's such a win. So a good book, as she says, a good book is a good book, and it's true. It's very true. Yep. All right, Andrea, what's your lightning round?
My lightning round is These Days by Lucy Caldwell, excuse me. This is from Zando, and an imprint run by Sarah Jessica Parker. Not just a pretty face actress, okay? She is really choosing some fine books to bring to the marketplace right now. And Louise Kennedy, that I believe Tom's, yeah, like Tom like represents her, says that this is exquisitely lyrical. And this is from another Irish writer, that follows two sisters over the course of 4 nights as they reckon with their future in war-torn Belfast, back in the day, during the Troubles. And it's stunningly well written. And before she, I gotta find this in my notes. Before she passed over to the like the halls of writerly valor, Hilary Mantel gave an endorsement for this book, so that's really nice. And she said that adroit, precise storytelling, atmospheric and satisfying, these days is a novel of real substance. So that says a lot. And then Tracy Chevalier also really liked it. So The Girl with the Pearl Earring, author of note, she said, "What a visceral, powerful, authentic novel. It's hard to believe Lucy Caldwell didn't actually live through the Belfast Blitz. It's so accurately depicted. I felt I was there with the bombs, the blood, the chaos, the fear, and the resilience." So that's pretty great. And so there you go. These days, and it's a nice cover. And I just feel like when this comes, like, I think this is a book group book, even in hardcover, but for sure when it comes out in paperback, I think a lot of people are going to be picking this up for book groups as well. So
I agree. And speaking of Louise Kennedy, it's very reminiscent. The cover is very reminiscent of
Yes, it is.
Louise. I can't remember.
Trespasses.
Trespasses.
yeah, well,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that there's a reason for that.
Yeah, but it's good. That's good.
Good marketing, okay?
Yeah, it's like, especially for us old people, it's like, oh, that looks good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Us geezers.
Us geezers. I'm telling you. All right, Tom, what's your lightning round?
All right, so even though this is the hardcover, the paperback of Amor Towles' Table for Two is out tomorrow. So, yeah. So, and this will be the only thing we have from Amor this year. So, if you didn't read it in hardcover, pick up the paperback. So, this is a collection of stories, and New York. So I think there's 6 stories set in New York, and then there's a novella which I just dearly love called Eve in Hollywood, which continues the story of Eve from Rules of Civility from New York as she's taking the train back to the Midwest, but she doesn't get off in the Midwest. She stays on the train all the way to Los Angeles. So then, the Eve in Hollywood novella is it's got a little bit of noir in it. It's set in it's late 30s when they're making Gone with the Wind, and if you love old Hollywood, it is filled with great stuff. And then the New York stories are relatively contemporary. I think they're in the early 2000s. All of them are different but memorable. I mean, I didn't know that Amor is such a great storyteller. Of course, I should have known he'd be a great short story writer, but I hadn't, until this book, I'd never read a short story by him. And I think of them as old-fashioned, but in the best sense, like really satisfying. You know, you feel like you get a whole novel in the short story, and they end. I think I ended up either smiling or crying at the end of each one. So they're terrific. And so if you haven't read Table for Two, it's out in paper tomorrow.
I love it. Okay, so this is like, was it in the green room that I was talking about the Blake Crouch book, or was that when we were live? I can't remember.
I didn't hear about it, so it must have been
Okay, it must have been when we were behind the scenes. So my book club picked the Blake Crouch book, Recursion, I think is the name of it. So there's an architect named Amor Tolls in it. So I am dying to like go down that rabbit hole to see why.
Spelled the same way?
Huh?
Is it spelled the same way? Like,
Well, I'm listening to it. So that's what I have to, that's exactly, Tom, exactly what I have to do. I need to get my hands on a hardcover because I got to see if it's spelled the same way. And then I have to go, okay, is it like Beth who won the thing to be in Rebecca Mackay's book?
Oh, yeah, right. Amor is dying to be in a Blake Crouch novel.
Like, I gotta figure out why Amor Tolls is in Blake
funny.
Crouch's book. So that's my next obsession.
There's a story. You know there's a story.
It's okay, Tolls he's a modern master for sure. But he's an architect, so I don't know. So I gotta do some research on this one. So if anybody figures it out, let me know.
Well, and I'm hoping to Amor is going to be at the LA Times Festival of Books in a few weeks. And I'm hoping to cross paths with him so I can say, like, when do you think we might see the next novel?
It's another novel. Well, I just saw David Mitchell just raised his head up on X today saying that he's just finished his novel that he's turning in. So,
that's exciting.
All of these great writers, I'm waiting for the new Anthony Doerr too. So it's Amor, Anthony, David Mitchell. We got some people we need some new books from. So there we go. Okay, Brittany, wrap us up. What do you got for us in Lightning Round?
I have a song to drown rivers from Anne Leong. It was on St. Martin's Press's list last fall. The paperback is coming out in August, so you can still get the hardcover while it's available. It's very pretty. It has these lovely edges. The paperback will also have the same penciled edges. But basically it is a retelling of the legend of Jishi, which is one of the 4 beauties of ancient China. And so it's more of a kind of mythological retelling. It's perfect for fans of books like Ariadne, Electra, think the kind of Jennifer Saint type audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. And I love the pretty books.
Yeah.
We're making them objects now with their pretty stuff.
I will say that the contents aside from the pretty are also very good.
Yeah, that's it. That's it too. It still has to be a good book.
Don't let that distract you. The book itself is a pretty compelling read.
Yeah. I love it. So there we go. And then so that one's coming out in paperback in August, you said, right?
Paperback in August, available in hardcover now.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Another good week. We have a little slower week of events this week. I think we only have one event happening down at the Coronado Library, but we've got a fun, crazy May happening. Like I said, Admiral McRaven, Mystic Pizza's Lily Taylor, S.A. Cosby's coming. And that's just the ones I can remember off the top of this old brain. We have lots of other things happening. So if you're not signed up for our newsletter, please do that, because what we do after tea time, I know everybody that's here knows this, but if you're watching this for the first time, after tea time on Tuesdays, Amanda puts all these books in a newsletter that goes out to everybody that's on our newsletter list. So if you didn't get a chance to write them all down, you'll get a newsletter recap tomorrow. So that's the beauty of it too. So Brittany, I hope you had fun on your first tea time with us. It was great having you. Andrea, it was great being back, having you back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice to see everybody.
Yeah. All right.
Always.
With that, signing off. See y'all next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Don't look at the stock market.